friends. Welcome to Whoop with Jen. Today is April 21st, 2020, and I really wanted to continue telling my story on this podcast, which was the purpose of it. But the coronavirus pandemic is kind of front and center of where we all are today. And there are good weeks and tough weeks, and we've been home now for 41 days, the four of us together. And I know that I'm lucky I'm in a healthy relationship with my spouse so far. And I've got great kids. Having a special needs child who doesn't understand and comprehend what's going on has been probably the biggest challenge for me, but I am very well aware that there are people who are not in as good of a scenario as we are. And most of my circle are of other moms with kids with special needs. And you know what? Sometimes there are tough days. And I love doing this podcast. And I love hearing from people and getting feedback and new introductions. But I got to tell you, I've had to drag myself to do this today because I am kind of like putting myself last behind everyone else in the family. And it's definitely starting to wear on me a little bit. And I think because I do this podcast and I connect with people, I am someone that people might reach out to if they're down or they need like a pick-me-up, and that weighs very heavily on me. But I'm doing it today anyway because I can't let this stop, and I don't have work right now, which is another factor that's tough to deal with because I miss not money as much as I miss the value of feeling important and feeling like I contribute to our household more than just the meals that I'm making and the laundry that I'm doing. So there are a lot of people out there suffering without roofs over their heads, food, jobs. And I want people to know that we should be grateful for what we do have, but that doesn't mean you aren't suffering. Even though I know people are suffering worse, there's still validation of the emotions and what we're feeling and are experiencing right now. And the word I keep hearing from people who are normally really upbeat and positive and have very good optimistic lives is that they're depressed. And having suffered from depression myself, I'm very familiar with that dark veil that washes over my heart, and I start to feel empty and like I'm drowning. And I can totally relate. And for those of you that are feeling depression for the first time, it's so common. And it's totally understandable why you might be feeling that way, because your lives are on hold and you're seeing your college-age kids have less than a college-age experience, or you have a high school senior who's missing out on their senior prom and the ability to, walk and accept their diploma. So I'm hearing that a lot. And I just want to acknowledge that you're not alone. And we all need to support and help each other and lend an ear or a shoulder to cry on. And if anyone feels like they need to reach out to me, I'm happy to be there for you. But when I hear the most upbeat, positive people say that they're depressed and they are dragging themselves to do whatever task they're doing, it's tough. And I had a great week last week, but this week's it's starting to be a little down. And so I'm hoping to, in the efforts of pulling together this podcast, kind of change that energy a little bit. Because truly what you believe is how it can change how you feel. And I hit my lowest point yesterday. I hope I can say this without choking up, but my daughter's teacher is doing regular classes, and there's this little boy who's just like the sweetest soul. And he put his head in his hands and started, choking back tears yesterday because he forgot to turn in an assignment, which doesn't matter. And he just, it just broke my heart to see that sweet young man struggle. And anyway, it was a tough day. So we all cope differently. And, I'm trying to be positive, but it's okay sometimes to kind of let that frustration and that sadness come in and acknowledge it. And then you can be done with it. And I thought that the event that Lady Gaga organized and put on last weekend, the One World Together at Home concert that she coordinated, was a very wonderful example of how perfection isn't necessary in our lives. Everyone was performing individually on their own. There were some technical glitches. It wasn't perfect. And I read posts about wow, that one could have been done better. And I'm like, it doesn't matter, because it's not about how perfect the sound quality was or the video quality was. It was about the content and the intent. And I think that should be the theme for what we looked at, or how we look at ourselves on the other side. Is we're now doing video conferencing. And, I used to script out all my podcasts and have it perfect, because I was so scared of the judgment that I would be placed upon me. And now it's like there's people out there that are doing amazing things. It's not perfect. We need to give ourselves a little bit of slack and forgiveness, and know that this should transcend into our professional and personal relationships going forward forever. We shouldn't feel like our hair and makeup has to be perfectly done to join our Zoom happy hours or our meetings. I mean, I wore a pretty shirt today just because I'm really sick of the sweaty tank tops I've been wearing. And I thought it would just kind of remind me of going on vacation. So I felt like dressing up a little bit today, because I'm literally wearing the same things over and over again. But let's just focus on imperfection and that how we really are and how we're really presented and how we really sound, look, and feel is exactly how it needs to be. And I was just really grateful for that concert. First of all, anytime you end anything like Andrea Bocelli, it's a winner in my book. But I really enjoyed the fact that it just wasn't perfect, and it made it entertaining. And that's kind of where we are right now with keeping our minds occupied and trying to stay positive. Less judgment. I mean, everyone's got to get through this in their own way, and it's different for everybody. And so we talk about coping. I mean, I had a 2-hour happy hour with a good friend yesterday, and I couldn't believe that we were talking for over 2 hours, and finally I'm like, I need to go eat some dinner. But everyone's coping in a very different way. And my coping was not doing this for a while, because I just felt like, who wants to listen to me right now? Maybe you do need to listen to me. Maybe I just need to do this to expand and learn new things. But I wanted to share my favorite coping skill, which might surprise you. But when I really, really feel like I'm going to lose it, my favorite thing is to throw a glass and shatter it. And I do it in a safe way. I mean, I make sure I'm not going to hurt anything else in my house or anyone, but there is something very gratifying about hurling a glass object to a hard surface and watching it splinter into a million pieces. And I love the sound. I love seeing it explode, and it makes me feel awesome. And there's something very healing. I know you guys are thinking I'm insane, but there's something healing about picking up all those shards of glass, to not cut myself, to look at the big pieces, the small pieces, the slivers, and vacuuming it all up. one of my yoga teachers talked about, you know, how you can find washing dishes as meditative because you can focus on that you've got your hands in the water and you're cleaning something and you're drying it. That for me, picking up the glass is meditative. It's thoughtful. And it doesn't mean I'm violent, but I see little bits and pieces of glass for days to come that I missed. And it's a reminder that, hey, I got over that bout of anger. It's over, it's gone. And I move on. So I don't want anyone to go out there and like start throwing things at other people, but I haven't done that yet, or I haven't thrown a glass in a while, but I'll give you some positive coping techniques now. And I have to say, I just absolutely have always loved The Office. Everyone knows that. And John Krasinski is now doing his own YouTube channel for Some Good News, SGN, and he is hysterical. And he has had so many great guests on. I just adore what he's doing so much, and that lighthearted humor. So if you're looking for a pick-me-up, look for Some Good News with John Krasinski, SGN. Other things that I have been doing are trying to show people that I still value their relationship. And so Elle's teacher, his wife had a baby right before they went on spring break, and he was on paternity leave. And so we hadn't seen him, and my daughter really wanted to give the baby a present. And we were waiting until we went back to school after spring break, which obviously hasn't happened. So I'm like, I don't know his mailing address to have anything delivered, but I have his email address. And I found out that he was registered at, I think it was Bye Bye Baby. So I'm like, great, I'll send him an online gift card so that he and his wife can safely shop for something for their newborn. And I don't have to stalk him to find his home address. I can have it electronically emailed to him. So that made me feel really good. I do check-in texts with people, and I don't limit it to just people I have strong relationships with. I do it pretty much with everybody, especially some of my clients who I know live alone or are in the healthcare industry, or I know are at risk of losing their job, or my small business owner friends who are missing out on the stimulus. I mean, we have a friend who owns 3 dental practices and wasn't able to get any of that small business loan, and is still paying all of their employees with their own money. We do take out from local restaurants to try to help them out. One does bagels that is a staple in our house. So there's just like lots of little things. The bear hunts are fun. I hope that most people with children are aware of the bear hunts. I think it started in Norway, maybe. But it's fun to, people put a stuffed animal in their windows and the kids go on a bear hunt. And with my daughter having autism and needing these repetitive tasks, for her, it's just a thrill to go out and see the stuffed animals in the windows. And then sometimes people change them out. It's not always a bear, like there's a dory. And she just absolutely loves going and seeing all of the animals. And I just want you all to know right now, if you had a stuffed animal in your window and you have removed it, she noticed. If you could kindly put it back, that would be great, because the endless questioning of what happened to the bear. And last night we went in the dark because like I said, I had a happy hour and then I wanted everyone to get fed, but she's got to do this routine. She needs to go on a bear hunt pretty much almost every day. And I didn't want to put her to bed with that disappointment of not having gone on the bear hunt. So I'm like, let's get a flashlight and let's go out. And I'm putting on our neighborhood Facebook page, okay, if you see someone shining a light in your window, please do not call the police or shoot us, because it's just Elle going on a bear hunt, and we're not trying to be rude, but she just wants to shine a light on the stuffed animal. And we got a great response from the neighbors, and I'm grateful that we're all in this supporting each other. Walking the dogs is a big thing, and they are exhausted. They have never been walked so much in their lives. And I can tell that they are kind of tired of having us around all the time too, because there's always noise. I mean, I haven't been alone in so long. I miss being alone. I miss doing these pods by myself when no one was home. And right now Elle's upstairs singing and jumping up and down and, doing exercise. And Jack's probably on his computer swearing at some game he's playing. And I now go on drives in the afternoons when I can by myself, music blaring, nowhere in particular. There's just beautiful places to drive around here. And that's my me time and my therapy. Yesterday I took a nap. That was amazing with my dogs. Yoga. I am a certified yoga teacher, even though I don't teach. I treated myself to that experience for my 40th birthday. And I hear a lot of people saying, oh, I hate doing yoga at home. I don't like doing it by myself. It doesn't have the same energy. Well, I am very grateful for the fact that because I did teacher training and I practiced a lot at home in order to learn sequences and practice teaching a class, which I had to do for my final, I have no problem doing yoga at home. And I haven't been practicing regularly. So hitting my mat for the first time in several years has been amazing. And I'm also shocked at how quickly my body has deteriorated. Aging's awesome. My latest thing for coping is to learn a new language. And I'm not exactly learning a new language because I took Spanish in high school and I was actually I felt like I was quite fluent in it. And we live in Arizona, so we do make trips to Mexico, which gives me a chance to practice it. And I've been to Costa Rica a couple times and I use it there. I can get by enough to not insult the locals. So I thought, well, I might as well just become totally fluent in Spanish. And I thought, well, I'll do Rosetta Stone. And my husband's like, oh, don't pay for it. Just do Duolingo. And my son got excited. He's like, yeah, we can connect on Duolingo and not really compete with one another, but like see who's doing more lessons than the other. And I am on level 4 of Duolingo and I'm still not past the man likes to eat apples or the man eats apples. Like I don't understand why apples is frequent and every man is named one. So I'm hoping I can get past that level at some point. And then I was like, I'll try German because my husband's company is based in Germany. I thought, well, maybe I'll do German. And I know some friends who speak German. That language makes no sense at all. That one's hard. So I switched back to Spanish. And Juan come manzanas. So I'm cleaning my own house, still paying my cleaning lady just to keep her going. And I realized what she doesn't clean necessarily, the top parts of all the shutters and the baseboards. So we got that taken care of this weekend. Obviously Zoom happy hours are keeping me busy and I've reconnected with high school classmates that I haven't talked to in over 10 years. And that's been great to just kind of pick up where we left off. I have to say that, and I'm going to go over my schedule here in a little bit, but having this front and center observation of what's going on in my daughter's classrooms, her teachers and therapists are kicking butt, trying to put together curriculum to keep these kids occupied. And I never know what's going on in the classroom because I can't see. I don't know how she interacts with the teachers, the aides, the other students, if she's liked, and her speech limitations, she can't tell me. And I've always wanted to have like a camera in the classroom to see what was going on. And now that's exactly what I have. And the effort that these educators are putting for these kids is unbelievable. And they deserve a standing ovation. They are keeping them connected. And when the little boy kind of broke down yesterday, his teacher just immediately went in and said, no, you don't need to worry about this. You are totally fine. Turn it in, don't turn it in. Turn it in late, like it doesn't matter. Like you're doing great. And every class they have, someone new pops in that surprises them. So like they had another math teacher come in on their call last week. And they have student teachers that come in and some of the therapists. And it's just so wonderful to see them all pull together. And it gives me great comfort to know that when Elle does go back to school, that she's right in the right place. Because one of my pods that I am going to create content for is about the year I screwed up the most for her in her education and how I made a huge mistake. And I hope people can learn from that. But I'm glad that we're in a good place now. And so the most recent way I'm coping these days is I'm writing singing parodies. I can't sing. I doubt people would want to listen to my voice, but I am having a lot of fun with the lyrics and the creative energy, and I am enjoying doing them. So even if you listen to my podcast on a regular podcast platform, they are always on YouTube. And now with Zoom, I have on some of them audio and video. And that's where I'm dropping my singing parodies. So I do have a YouTube channel, Welp with Jen. I've released one parody already. It's called Let It Grow. And I hope it just makes you laugh. I've written 2 more, and I can't wait to record them and drop them. I'm getting a lot of laughter out of it. And if I'm even just making myself laugh, then I've had a pretty good day. So I hope you'll check those out too. So I wanted to talk about like what my schedule is like, because my husband, he's like, I don't know how you're doing it. You are like nonstop busy for someone who's not working right now. And I guess the rainbow of it is that I guess, thank goodness I'm not working, because I'm so busy with Elle. I'm her educator and her therapist right now, and her mom. And so I try to start my day at 6:45 in the morning, which is nice because I usually am getting up at 6. But the goal is to get up at 6:45 and walk the dogs in the morning, because it's starting to get hot here in Arizona, and I need to be back in time for her Monday class at 9 a.m. with her teacher. So they do an hour-long class, and then I have an hour break before her physical therapy Zoom is on at 11. And for people who work schedules, like there's not a lot you can get done in just, 1 hour. I'm basically catching up on emails, trying to keep my laptop from overheating from all the WebExes that she's doing. I'm really scared I'm going to have to get a new laptop after all of this. So I want to just say Mondays and Tuesdays are really tough. So Monday she has a 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. and then she has speech at 1 p.m. So I have like these little pockets of hours that, are in between these Zooms, and then I have the afternoon free. And I try to do a yoga practice while she's having lunch around noon, so I can squeeze that in. And then it's like maybe a shower, maybe, I don't know. And then, of course, we do our bear hunt around 5 o'clock. And our neighborhood has tons of people sitting out in their driveways in their lawn chairs, practicing social distancing while their kids are doing, riding their bikes, their scooters, drawing on the sidewalks with chalk. And we'll go ride around the neighborhood maybe, or walk. And that's kind of like Monday. And, of course, dinner, bedtime, emails, etc. And then so Tuesdays after the dog walk, she's got speech with her school speech therapist at 8:30. And then last week, her teacher did a special stress awareness class at 9 to give them homework to talk about stress and how to cope with stress in light of what we're experiencing right now. Then they do a music therapy class at 11, which is hysterical. Then she has occupational therapy at 2:30 on Tuesdays. And then at 3:30, she has applied behavioral analysis therapy. And then at 5:30, she has virtual cheer. So Tuesdays kind of suck because they are loaded with all of these things. And keep in mind, she is not independent. I have to usually be present at all of these sessions to redirect her and to prompt her, because she doesn't understand that back and forth speech component. And so it's a lot of my time being there. And I mean, I'm kind of bored. Like I can't really do anything, like multitask, which is hard for me because I love doing a lot of things at once. So then Wednesdays, I walk the dogs, and she doesn't have anything until 10. She has speech at 10, and then she's got her English class at 1:30. And then on Wednesdays at 4 p.m., we do a social Zoom with her classmates where it's just the kids chatting, just asking, how are you doing? What did you do today? And we usually have a teacher or an aide pop on to surprise them, which is really fun to have a surprise guest. Okay, Thursday, walk the dog. Then we have a cooking class that our teacher hosts, and that's really fun. A different person teaches it. We've had one of the students teach it. Another student will teach it this week. The speech therapist did last week, and that is hysterical to watch them cook. And then I'm free the rest of the day. Although I usually have a happy hour at 5, which is great. But I love Thursdays. So if I can get through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I can kind of like slide into the rest of the week. And then on Friday mornings after my dog walk, they have math dice game, which is super fun. And then she has ABA again at 2:30. So it's really busy. I'm trying to squeeze in yoga around noon. And then the weekends are, just keeping like doing all the household chores, paying bills and laundry and cleaning and figuring out food. I did take an inventory of my freezer just to look at all the food I have in there and what I've made and what we can thaw out for lunch the next day. And yeah, it's super riveting time right now. And I know I'm not alone, and I don't know how it would work. I'm not ready to be retired yet, but you do what you got to do. It's very much about a routine right now. And I just want to put out there that if anybody want to do a Zoom with me and connect, like we can do that. There's value in having that face-to-face contact and also interacting with someone who isn't part of your quarantine. I miss people so much, and I would love to see your faces. So whatwithjen@gmail.com. And I hope you check out my parodies on YouTube. I hope you're all staying safe. I'm going to return back to original content of my life of raising Elle and where I have left off. But in the meantime, stay safe, be strong, throw a glass at something. Whoop, whoop to all out there. This is Jen.